Hi friends, it's your art teacher, Miss Barnett, and in this week's lesson called Yarn Painting, we've been learning about the Huichol Indians of Mexico and how they create beautiful paintings using fibers and yarn. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create our own yarn painting. You'll get a piece of cardboard like this. This is a 5.5 by 8.5, 9-inch sheet of cardboard. You will need scissors, maybe a couple of T-pins. T-pins are this shape pin, and a pencil. I'll be drawing with markers so you can see it on the screen. Some glue and maybe a glue brush to paint, to add glue to large areas, and of course some yarn. So there's some questions you need to answer before we get started today. Let's think about this before. Remember, artists always plan before they start. So, are you going to use an animal shape or a nature or natural shape today? How will you begin to make your shape? And what colors do you think complement each other? So when I'm speaking about complementary colors, hold on just a second. We're talking about colors on the color wheel that are opposite of one another. So red is the opposite of green. Violet is the opposite of yellow. Blue is the opposite of orange, and it's really easy to find that. You can just take a pencil or any straight line tool and it'll help you figure out where the complements are. So you're going to use complementary colors for this project today. Before you begin, I want you to practice making shapes within shapes, and you might also want to practice the outlining technique with some black yarn and filling it in with some colored yarn. So I'm going to show you how to make a yarn painting. So let's move on together and we'll get started right now. Here we go. All right, friends, so I'm going to make a sun and a moon on my yarn painting. So I've got a tracer here, and then using my marker, I'm going to begin drawing, and I'll speed this process up so you can watch. Here we go. All right, friends, I've created my image. I've added things into the background. Now I'm going to take some of this beautiful fiber glue and some black yarn, and I'm going to outline all my shapes. Here we go. If you need to, you can use push pins to hold these in place while they dry. Like that. I did decide to change my design. I was having a hard time getting these smaller shapes to show up, so don't forget you can make changes if you need to. That is totally fine. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back to it and start working on the other colors. All right, friends, my black yarn has dried, and I've taken out my T-pins. If you need to do big areas like I'm fixing to do, you'll want to get some white glue and one of these plastic bristle brushes, and we can just paint the area before we add the yarn. I'm going to start adding the inside of the sun and the moon. Here we go. All right, friends, here's my completed yarn painting project. Remember, you could either do a natural object or an animal. You're going to use complementary colors, colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. Colors like orange and blue are opposite, and I made sure I kind of carried that motif, that orange and blue motif. Remember that a motif is like a pattern, but it's a design element. And I carried that motif through my painting, yarn painting. I hope you have just as much fun creating this as I did. I found it very satisfying, as you guys like to say, and I think you'll really enjoy it too. Let's get started.